The Shining vs. Eyes Wide Shut. A hilarious look at hidden powers, levers of control, and Kubrick's creepy obsession with fancy buildings. Stanley Kubrick loved a good mystery. From 2001, A Space Odyssey's cosmic enigmas to the unsettling madness of The Shining and the secretive orgies of Eyes Wide Shut, Kubrick seemed obsessed with what happens behind closed doors and who holds the keys. Both The Shining and Eyes Wide Shut deal with hidden power structures, though one is about ghosts, or is it? And the other about masked elites running the world, or at least their social calendars. Together, they form a bizarre, hilarious commentary on how Kubrick viewed power, control, and people who live in places with way too many rooms. The Overlook Hotel versus the Mansion of Debauchery. In The Shining, the Overlook Hotel is a towering symbol of hidden power. It's big, it's old, and it's definitely not up to code. Behind its opulent facade lurks an array of spectral inhabitants pulling the strings. The hotel is essentially a haunted bureaucracy, where dead bartenders, creepy twins, and ballroom attendees are the board members ensuring Jack Torrance loses his mind. The Overlook doesn't just contain power, it is power. It consumes the Torrance family for its own mysterious ends, much like any corporate entity swallowing up a small business. Meanwhile, in Eyes Wide Shut, the secret mansion where Tom Cruise stumbles into an Illuminati-level masquerade is another symbol of hidden power. Instead of ghosts, it's full of rich people in Venetian masks engaging in activities that range from mildly questionable to please don't tell my spouse. These mass elites represent a different kind of haunting, the power of wealth and secrecy to dominate the lives of ordinary people, like Cruise's befuddled Dr. Bill Harford. While Jack is driven mad by the Overlook's ghosts, Bill is nearly undone by what he sees and doesn't see at the mansion. Either way, too much exposure to secretive elites is hazardous to your health. Levers of Power, the hotel staff versus the masked orgasmic Illuminati. Both films delve into the idea of who's really in charge. In The Shining, it's not Jack Torrance, despite his desperate attempts to be the master of his domain, or at least his typewriter. The Overlook's real power lies in its unseen forces. The ghostly Lloyd, who serves drinks like a spectral HR rep for the damned, and Grady, the genteel but murderous former caretaker. These entities represent an invisible hierarchy that manipulates Jack until he becomes its axe-wielding puppet. In Eyes Wide Shut, the masked elites function as the ultimate power brokers. They're rich, they're secretive, and they're terrifyingly good at running an underground Eyes Wide Shut cinematic universe yushku. While Lloyd gives Jack booze and cryptic advice, the masked overlords give Bill veiled threats and a heaping dose of paranoia. The levers of power in Eyes Wide Shut aren't supernatural, but they're no less scary. They're the people who can ruin your life with a glance, or a well-timed chant in a creepy Latin dirge. Family versus fidelity, the cost of power. One of Kubrick's favorite themes is the toll hidden power takes on personal relationships. In The Shining, Jack's descent into madness destroys his family. The Overlook exploits his insecurities and turns him into the world's worst husband and father. His wife Wendy and son Danny bear the brunt of Jack's unraveling, all while dodging ghosts, axes, and enough red flags to fill a Soviet parade. In Eyes Wide Shut, the stakes are marital rather than murderous. Dr. Bill's journey through New York's seedy underbelly and elite circles is spurred by a simple comment from his wife Alice about a hypothetical infidelity. Instead of grabbing an axe, Bill grabs his wallet and starts paying cover charges at increasingly weird venues. His odyssey is less about family destruction and more about existential dread. But the theme remains: hidden powers, whether ghostly or societal, love to ruin a good marriage. What's behind the door? Doors are a recurring motif in both films, representing access or lack thereof to hidden truths. In The Shining, room 237 is the ultimate forbidden zone. Jack enters and encounters a nightmarish vision of a decaying woman, a grotesque embodiment of the Overlook's power. It's a room you can check into, but you definitely can't check out of with your sanity intact. In Eyes Wide Shut, the mansion's doors guard the secrets of the masked elite. Bill is let in barely but quickly realizes he's out of his depth. While Jack opens forbidden doors and plunges deeper into madness, Bill is constantly shown doors he's not allowed to enter, an apt metaphor for his limited understanding of the power structures he's stumbled upon. In both films, doors aren't just physical barriers, they're psychological traps, daring the protagonist to peek behind the curtain. The funny side of Kubrick's elites. Kubrick's portrayal of hidden power isn't without its humor, intentional or otherwise. The Overlook's ghosts have a certain charm, like Lloyd's unnervingly polite bartending, or Grady's calm explanation of why he murdered his family. Similarly, the masked elites of Eyes Wide Shut are so over the top with their rituals and secret passwords, it's hard not to laugh. Who needs to rent an entire mansion for debauchery? Can't they just meet at Dave's place? Both films also highlight the absurdity of those who think they're in control. Jack believes he's the man of the house, but he's a pawn in the Overlook's game. Bill, despite his wealth and status, is nothing more than a curious bystander to the elite's machinations. Kubrick seems to be saying that the people pulling the strings are ridiculous, and that trying to join their club is a one-way ticket to existential despair. Final thoughts: Ghosts vs. Masks. In The Shining and Eyes Wide Shut, Kubrick examines hidden power from two angles: the supernatural and the societal. One story has ghosts, the other has orgies. One protagonist loses his mind to spectral forces, the other loses his sense of security to human ones. But both films share a common thread. Power is always hidden, always dangerous, and always ready to mess up your life. So, the next time you're tempted to enter a spooky hotel or an exclusive mansion party, just remember Jack Torrance and Dr. Bill Harford. Hidden power is rarely worth the price, whether it's your sanity, your family, or your dignity while wearing a Venetian mask.